When you think about retirement, what comes to mind? No alarm clock, coffee on the porch as the sunrise comes up, an open schedule with no one to tell you how to fill it. Now, most of us spend decades dreaming of this level of freedom. I think, after all, that's kind of what retirement represents for a lot of people: freedom. But there's a part of retirement that no one really warns you about, and it's something I've seen a lot of retirees grapple with. It's not about money and it's not even about health. It's that moment after you retire when the initial excitement fades a little and you start wondering, what now? You've got all the freedom you wanted, but so often it can still feel like something's missing, like freedom fell short. This is the part of retirement I want to talk about today, because what most people think they're chasing when they dream about freedom isn't actually freedom itself. For 30 or 40 years, someone else set your schedule. Your boss, your clients, your kids all have a say in how your days go. When you're having a bad day, when you're stressed because you're scrambling to get everything done, when you're putting certain goals and dreams that you have on hold for others, you start to fantasize about the day when you're finally the one in control. You picture slow mornings, time to travel, no one telling you what to do. And that's not wrong. Having autonomy is one of the biggest predictors of happiness and well being, according to a 2017 meta analysis of 36 different studies. But what most people don't expect is how quickly that sense of freedom can start to feel actually quite heavy. You wake up one day and realize the structure that used to shape your life is now gone, and you have to decide what's worth doing each and every day. I've had so many conversations with retirees who say some version of this: I thought I'd love having all of this freedom, but it's strange how unstructured it feels. It's hard and even anxiety inducing to decide how to spend my days. This is where I see a paradox of sorts emerging for a lot of retirees. When you're working, when you don't have control over your schedule, it's actually quite easy and honestly valid to blame your boss or company for wasting your time. You might grumble about long meetings, pointless projects, or someone else always setting your priorities, but there's also a strange comfort in it, because at least you know what you're supposed to do each day. And more than that, you're surrounded by people in the same boat. Everyone's juggling the same pressures, the same trade offs, and that shared struggle creates its own set of social comfort. Working, providing for your family, putting certain dreams on hold, it's just the cost of life. On the other hand, retirement provides a really strong contrast to this. When your schedule is wide open, each day you are forced to design your days in a way that is fulfilling, fun, and also leads to some level of meaning. You don't realize this at first, but that creates a big responsibility that can be quite anxiety inducing. During work, you can blame your boss or external circumstances when life wasn't going how you wanted. In retirement, the buck stops with you. You are the master of your schedule. What makes this even trickier is that there's no shortage of advice on how you're supposed to spend your time. Volunteer, it'll give you a sense of purpose. Travel the world, it'll keep you young. Get out and meet new people. That's what happy retirees do. Everywhere you look, someone has a prescription for meaning. But the more options you have and the more advice you hear, the harder it becomes to know which path is exactly right for you. That's the sneaky part of freedom. When every door is open, it's easy to stand frozen in the hallway, wondering which one should we walk through. This is what psychologists call the paradox of choice. As our options expand, our satisfaction with the choice we ultimately make often drops, because we can't help but compare it to all the other options we didn't choose. Here's a simple example. Let's say you're buying jeans. You walk into the store that has two pairs of jeans, one that's stylish and one that's practical. Depending on which you care about, fashion or durability, the decision is pretty easy. Now imagine walking into a store with 50 options. Every pair is slightly different in style, color, fit, and price. Statistically, you're far more likely to find a pair that fits you perfectly. But here's the paradox. Once you buy them, your mind starts to wonder, should I pick that different pair? Maybe the sale pair has a small defect. Maybe the premium ones would have lasted longer. The more choices we have, the more second guessing that creeps in, and the less satisfied we will feel, even if the outcome is technically better. Now, take the same dynamic and multiply it by every decision you make in retirement. Every day you have hundreds of ways to spend your time: travel, volunteering, hobbies, family, fitness, learning something new. And because there are no clear rules anymore, every choice starts to feel like a referendum on whether you're using your time well. That's the paradox of choice at an existential level. When everything's possible, it's easy to feel like nothing's quite right. So, how do we find a solution to this conundrum? Is retirement just a ladder many people climb only to realize they were climbing the wrong one? I think the real issue is we've mistaken the freedom of retirement for the goal of retirement. Freedom just represents potential, it's a blank canvas. Work gives you a built in meaning. Even if you don't love what you do, the structure, the responsibility, the people who depend on you, all of that gives your days a sense of purpose. When that disappears, you're handed something powerful but quite disorienting: the freedom to choose your own meaning. And that's not as easy as it sounds, because As far as I can tell, humans don't come with any preloaded purpose. For one person, it's travel. For another, it's building furniture in the garage. Some people find it in mentoring or volunteering. Others find it in quiet days surrounded by family, or honestly, even just in solitude. For some watching this video, you might immediately know what that purpose is going to be. You're probably someone who doesn't have a problem finding direction in retirement. Many others, however, will have been so ingrained in the work phase of their life that this newfound freedom and finding purpose is daunting. Some people spend years in this in-between state in retirement, others spend far less time. My goal from here is to give some ideas and solutions that I've seen work with our clients that can help shrink the time you spend in this in-between zone. So here are 5 insights I've noticed watching our clients find meaning in retirement. Number 1, commitment creates meaning. Given the freedom of retirement, many retirees start by trying to unconstrain everything. No schedule, no obligations, no rules. At first, this feels amazing. But think back on your life so far. What stands out as some of the biggest meaning creators in your life? I would guess your spouse, kids, maybe even pets ranks amongst the highest for most people. All of these things have required significant commitment and have added constraints to your life in various ways. And that's the irony of freedom. The very thing that we think will make us happy, a life without constraints, often leaves us feeling restless. Because meaning doesn't come from avoiding commitments, it comes from choosing them. The problem with work wasn't that it had structure, that it had commitment and constraints. It's that someone else chose that structure for you. Number 2, when options look equal, choose the one with the short-term pain. Freedom gives you options, and sometimes those options look equal on paper. You could spend the afternoon watching another episode of a show that you're interested in, or you could finally sit down and start writing a book that you've been thinking about for years. In moments like this, I've learned something simple. When 2 paths look equal, choose the one with the shorter-term pain. Our brains are wired to prefer the easy, instant reward, the short-term bliss. But most of the time, the short-term bliss carries the long-term emptiness. The meaningful things, the ones that actually make retirement feel rich, usually come wrapped in some short-term friction. They ask something of you. Writing the book, mentoring the student, learning a new instrument, those things are hard today, but often deeply satisfying tomorrow. That's the quiet discipline of freedom, to choose the discomfort that leads somewhere good instead of the comfort that leads nowhere at all. Number 3, meaning doesn't have to be a grand mission. It can grow in small circles. Everyone starts with the big question, what is my purpose with a capital P? But the happiest people I know find it in small, consistent things. Purpose usually sneaks up on you while you're doing something ordinary that quietly matters quite a bit to you. One of the simplest ways to start noticing this is pay attention to your energy levels after an activity. Does it lift you up or drain you? Do you feel more alive after or a little more tired and disengaged? Now, this sounds simple, but it's actually a pretty powerful signal. Over time, you'll start to see patterns, activities, people, and environments that consistently leave you energized. These are usually the breadcrumbs that lead towards more meaning, because purpose rarely arrives in a single lightning bolt moment. It tends to grow in small circles around habits, people, and commitments that quietly make your life richer. Number 4, stop overanalyzing everything. One of the traps in retirements is the constant second guessing, the am I using my time well enough loop. It comes from having so many choices and so few guardrails. Every decision starts to feel like it carries extra weight. But here's the truth. The people who seem happiest in retirement aren't necessarily the ones who are optimizing. They're the ones who stop analyzing every choice to death. Psychologists call this satisficing, choosing something that's good enough and then fully engaging with it instead of endlessly chasing the perfect option. Because the more you keep your options open, the more your brain keeps wondering what might be missing. At some point, good enough really is good enough if you pour yourself into it. Remember, there is no perfect choice in the first place. Everything in life comes with trade-offs. Satisfaction often grows not from getting things perfect, but from getting invested. Insight number 5, fulfillment follows effort. The goal of retirement isn't endless comfort. For most of our lives, we've been told that comfort equals happiness, contentment, that the more ease we create, the better life gets. But life actually doesn't work that way. It requires contrast. You can't have the peaks without the valleys. The happiest retirees I've met eventually realize that comfort alone starts to feel flat. What gives life texture again is effort, working towards something that stretches you, because effort always comes with some struggle, and it's that struggle that makes achievement, progress, and even rest feel meaningful. You don't need to fill your days with austere grind, but you do need things that ask something of you, something you can push against, something that stretches and grows you. Fulfillment rarely lives in the easy path. Comfort is only fulfilling after you've earned it, after it contrasts against something else. So if there's a lesson in all of this, it's that freedom alone doesn't make us happy. It's what we do with that freedom, what we choose to commit to, struggle for, and care about that turns something into something meaningful. And that's really what great planning is about. Not just making sure you have enough money to retire, but structuring your finances in a way that gives you options to explore, to experiment, to live on your own terms. If you're ready to start building that kind of retirement, that's exactly what our team helps families do. Click the link or call the number below to explore working with us. And always remember, you don't need more money. You need a better plan. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.